joint unions or something?
Civil unions.
Civil unions. Is there any like meaningful difference that you know of between the two, other than just the name?
According to the way the laws are written, there is not supposed to be any real difference outside of the name. A civil union is supposed to grant the same rights as a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
In actuality, it's proving that it doesn't quite work. When you get into matters such as health insurance, life insurance, other benefits that would be dependent on one partner in a relationship, companies are trying to say that because their contracts say marriage, it doesn't apply to civil unions.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple instances of that happening, and it's had to go to court, and as far as I know, when it has gone to court, the state has upheld its own law and said that the civil union law explicitly states that anything that says marriage now also applies to a civil union.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel that we can depend on the state to always do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. So what would you suggest would be the solution? I mean, do you think that we should just get rid of these civil unions and just allow gay marriage? Or do you think the civil unions is a reasonable compromise for the time being, or that things might change in the future? I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
I used to think that civil unions might be a reasonable compromise, but at this point I don't think so anymore. I think we need real official marriage for all people. Call it the same thing no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Or else that marriage is then only something performed by a church or other religious authority, and that heterosexual couples who get, quote, married, in fact have a civil union in the state of New Jersey. They go through their church or whatever they want to get a marriage.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of the law, it's a civil union.
Okay. Now, you mentioned religion. Now, there are some people who object to homosexuality on religious grounds, and I, in fact, asked a question, like, where does it say in the Bible that homosexuality is wrong? And it got like almost 100 responses, and I got almost 100 different answers. What is your basic like response to people who object to homosexuality on religious grounds?
I think they have every right to disagree with it, and to feel that it is wrong for themselves based on their religion. However, they don't have the right to tell me or anyone else how to live our lives, and that how we are created is wrong. And then there is the point of, where does it say it in the Bible? I've had passages shown to me, and there are, I believe, 3 or 4 in particular that are usually cited as this is where the Bible condemns homosexuality.
Do you remember, like, basically what it said?
One of them, and I'm probably getting the wording wrong, but one of them, and this is coming from the King James Version of the Bible, which is also notorious for having a lot of sexist phrasing in it. And it was commissioned by King James, so also things were written and worded to his liking. If you want to say the Bible was written by God, I can try to accept that, but the King James Version was not penned by God. It was a transcription by humans. But going back to the quote, I believe it is something along the lines of, man shall not lie with man as he would lay with a woman. So, looking at that, I mean, I did kind of pause for a moment looking at that one. Now, I mean, I myself am not Christian, so whatever the Bible says...
It's not applicable.
Yeah, it doesn't really have much direct impact on me. But, looking at that, it can still be interpreted in a few different ways. And I think one possible interpretation is simply if a man is going to lay down with a man, and this is assuming that laying with refers to having sexual relations. One could interpret it, if a man is going to lay down with another man, have sex with another man, don't pretend that you're having sex with a woman. Call it what it is. It's two men having sex.
Yeah.
It's not an explicit condemnation. It's just kind of a, don't do this. And it's not even really clear exactly what it's saying not to do.
Right. So, you don't have a problem with, like, I mean, I shouldn't say you don't have a problem with, but you kind of respect other people's beliefs if they do believe that. You just don't want them to interfere with your life.
Right. And it's a topic I had actually rather not discuss with them generally because, you know, it's a personal thing, and I do find those views hurtful.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody can discuss it with me without condemning me directly, and they can just say, you know, I personally disagree with it, and I personally find it something that I could not do, but if that's how you are, then that's how you are. Maybe I can have a discussion with them.
Right.
But I think also it would ultimately end where we have to agree to disagree.
Right. Now, I made another video about showing homosexuality to children. That was basically the title of it. What are your views about like exposing or teaching, I should say, children homosexuality? Do you think that's a right thing to do? If in principle there is nothing wrong with homosexuality, why is it wrong to like teach children about it? That sort of thing. I mean, if in principle there's nothing wrong with it, do you think we should teach children about homosexuality?
Yes. I think children need to know that this is out there and that this is normal and acceptable. You know, it's not teaching children to be homosexual. It's not teaching children to be gay. It's just making kids aware that this is out there.
Like, what age group do you think would be like a good time to at least expose them to it, teach them about it, that sort of thing?
I would say certainly by upper elementary school, possibly even younger. But I mean, I would say by the age of 9, probably by the age of 8, I think the kids are at a stage where they're starting to become a little bit more aware of the world around them. But if they haven't seen something yet, that it also becomes something that shouldn't be there. Before a certain age, a kid sees something new and they just accept it.
They accept it because it's familiar.
Yeah.
It's no longer different.
Yeah, and at a certain point, and I don't know what age.
Like 8 or 9. What grade is that?
Usually 3rd to 4th grade.
Okay, 3rd to 4th grade. And even before then, like I know that we expose like kindergartners and first graders to like just heterosexual relationships in stores and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, really, we expose children to that pretty much from birth.
Yeah.
You know, in a lot of cases, parents or other people in general will read stories to children who can't even speak yet. And a lot of those stories involve heterosexual relationships and reinforce the social norm of heterosexuality. You know, I mean, how many kids, before they can read, before they even start school, know the story of Cinderella?
Yeah.
Or something similar. A lot of kids know that.
Yeah.
But why can't Cinderella go to the ball and meet the princess? Why can't we have Cinderfella, who is picked up by the prince?